Hello, happy Thursday. This is Julie with Balanced Life with Julie, regenerative health practitioner, holistic nutritionist. I wanted to come on live today to talk about how to overcome autoimmune disorders. This is part two. So, if you go back to my previous live, I did a part one that was really focused on how to overcome autoimmune disorders by focusing on diet and really looking at diet. But in this live, I want to talk about the impact that stress and trauma plays on autoimmune disorders. As with any chronic illness or dis-ease within the body, stress obviously has a role. It impacts our overall health and well-being. But specifically in autoimmune disorders, we want to be paying attention to the role that trauma plays in creating illness and dis-ease within the body. So, yeah, I want to dive into that a little bit today and give you some suggestions on things that if you are somebody who's dealing with an autoimmune condition, these are things that you also want to be looking at on your journey to health and wellness. Now, obviously, diet plays a role. It plays a significant role, as does making sure that you're reducing the amount of chemicals and toxic load that you have on your body, and whatever has accumulated within your body. You also want to make sure that you're getting that out of your system and also addressing parasites. So those are all things that I spoke about in my last live video about this topic. So make sure that you go back and watch that. In this video, let's go deeper into the role of trauma and stress. So here's the thing. We are as human beings, we're all exposed to stress. I think everybody goes through some form of trauma, no matter how great your life has been, no matter how loving the family or the home that you grew up in was. We all go through trauma of varying degrees. And, how, how should I phrase this? It's not really a comparison, right? Like some people, what impacts one person sees as really, really traumatic. Somebody else might see it not as traumatic, right? And so there isn't really a comparison chart. It really comes down to how you're impacted by something and how that affects you going forward, right? So some people go through really traumatic and stressful events, and they have a built-in resiliency. They're able to overcome things easier than other people. And certain individuals, you might have gone through traumatic events in your life, and you're just not able to overcome those issues. And so it's really, really important to understand that we're not doing a comparison chart, but so the types of trauma that I'm talking about that can really impact one's health and well-being, especially if you've had gone through things as a child, is physical abuse, mental or psychological abuse, sexual trauma of any kind, whether you experienced that as a child or you experienced it at some point in your life as a young adult. All of these things, all of these traumas can leave long-lasting imprints within our body and within our, not only our emotion, but also our mind, and how we cope with life going forward. So one of the biggest challenges, if you've gone through trauma in your life, there's actually a book that I read a long time ago called Childhood Disrupted. Highly, highly recommend that you pick it up, you read it. There's a survey at the back of the book that goes through all of the different challenges that one might experience. So that could be physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, growing up in a childhood, growing up in a home where as a child, maybe one or both parents were dealing with some type of addiction, whether that's alcohol or drugs, or maybe your parents went through a divorce. All of these things can really, really impact you. And it's important to have ways of moving through those challenges. And so one of the most challenging things when, especially when you're a child and you go through these kinds of events, is that we don't quite understand the world. We don't have a way of making sense of the world, and our perception of what events around us can really imprint us uh, for life going forward. And so untangling that web really takes concerted effort. It takes understanding, and there are different tools and modalities that you can use for sure. So what happens when you go through a lot of trauma, when you go through many stressful events, is it is incredibly unsettling for your nervous system. And a dysregulated nervous system uh, creates a foundation within the body where it's really, really challenging to heal, because you just don't feel calm. You just don't feel still and steady within yourself. And even if you are trying to do all the quote unquote the right things in terms of your diet and exercise and trying to dial in your sleep, because your nervous system doesn't feel settled, things aren't landing the same way within your body. So I'll just speak for myself. I went through a lot of trauma as a child, as a young adult, and that, even though I was able to reverse hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's, still somewhat in a nervous system state where I felt dysregulated. Um, it wasn't until recently, I would really say the last year and a half, where I felt a settling in my nervous system, where I feel profoundly calm, profoundly at peace. But I realized, as I've been doing this work myself and working with people and testing different modalities and trying different things, that I realized that because of the life that I've lived and all of the things that I've gone through, I've spent most of my life in a dysregulated state. And if you are somebody who's gone through a lot of traumatic events, your body gets wired a certain way, and you just have a way of responding to the environment as if everything is always a threat all the time, and you can't get settled. So it takes effort, awareness, and conscious practice to start to regulate your nervous system, to get it to calm down. And ultimately, it's going to feel unfamiliar at first, because probably you've never really experienced it your entire life. So, some of the modalities and the tools that help with that is breath work. Breath work is really, really powerful. And there are different types of breath work. So you can seek out a breath work practitioner. And it's really important that when you're working, whether you're working with a therapist or some type of a practitioner, that you find somebody that really resonates with you and allows you to feel safe in the environment that you're working in. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to settle yourself, because it's just gonna, what's the word? It's just gonna keep you in that dysregulated state. So don't be shy about being picky and finding somebody that you really truly resonate. So breath work is incredibly powerful, because when your nervous system is dysregulated, most people don't breathe properly to begin with. Most people only breathe in kind of like the upper part of their chest. And so a lot of people are in a type of breath pattern that keeps them in a fight or flight state. But you want to get out of that state and be in the parasympathetic state, not in the sympathetic state. That's the fight or flight state. You want to be in the parasympathetic state. That's known as rest and digest. That is what is going to help you to calm and settle down in your body. Yoga practice is also really, really powerful. And I'm not talking about power classes or flow classes. I'm talking about things like yin, hatha, the slower moving practices, because that's going to allow you to breathe more slowly, move more slowly, and start to really come home into your body. And that's incredibly powerful. So, breath work, yoga, time in nature is incredibly healing. And I'm talking about time without devices, without earbuds in your ears and distraction. You actually want to have peace and quiet. If you can be near a large body of water, whether that's a lake or ocean, river, doesn't matter. It's incredibly healing. It's incredibly calming for our body and our mind and our spirit to be around nature. The other thing that's really, really important to understand is that 80 to 90% of the serotonin in your body is made in your gut. 40% of the dopamine in your body is also made in your gut. When you spend time in nature, there are um, things that shouldn't there are microbes. That's the word I was looking for. There are microbes that are outside in the environment, especially around trees, around the ocean, that when you breathe that into your body, it actually helps your gut microbiome kind of recalibrate itself. You ever notice that if you're in a state of stress, but then you go out for a walk and you go out in nature and you spend some time in nature without any distractions, you come back, you feel calmer. It's because of what we're exposed to when we go out in nature, the microbes, the microbial universe that we're exposed to when we spend time among the trees and around the ocean or around large bodies of water. That's very different from our environment when we're inside in buildings. And the fact of the matter is that one of the most toxic atmospheres to be in is at home with your windows closed, right? It's the air that we're breathing in our home environment is not that clean unless you actually have filters at home and you're purifying your air, which a lot of people aren't. So you do want to be spending some time in nature. The other thing is, if you've gone through a lot of trauma in your life, you want to look for a qualified therapist if talk therapy is of interest to you, somebody that can allow you to verbalize or move through what you need to move through. If that's not of interest, because talk therapy isn't for everyone, remember that trauma gets stored in our body. It gets into our cells and our tissues. And so one of the other things that I really, really highly recommend is working with some type of a somatic practitioner to help move that out of your body. The other thing that happens is that when you change your diet, to a enzyme rich living foods diet, what that's going to start to do is move your lymphatic system and start to move the toxins and the lymphatic waste that has built up in your body. And along with that, what'll happen is you will start to notice that emotions will also start to clear out of your body. I'm in the middle of a protocol that I'll be doing into mid-September. And so I'm doing a lot of micronutrient dense greens. I'm doing a lot of watermelon. And the reason that I chose watermelon is that it's a very, very astringent fruit and it really moves the lymph. And I wanted to support my body with nutrient dense greens as well. And what I've noticed as I've been doing this protocol for the past, I don't know, 2, 3 weeks, I'm losing count. Is that sometimes just odd times of the day, I will just feel a wave of grief or a wave of sadness or some emotion just move through my body. And I have to remind myself that because I'm clearing out my lymph system and I'm trying to clean up the internal environment within my body, the emotions that come up, that's also a part of the journey. It's part of the process. And if you are somebody who's watched my videos or you see a lot of things on my channel, you might be thinking to yourself, well, Julie, you live pretty healthy. Shouldn't everything just be okay? And it's like, no, the first of all, we live in such a toxic environment. I mean, I live in a city, so I'm exposed to all kinds of things. Unless you're fortunate enough where you live in the middle of nowhere and nobody's around you and there's no planes flying overhead, all of us get exposed to a lot of chemicals and heavy metals and microplastics, and that's just in our environment. And then we're breathing it in, it's getting into our body through our skin. And then if you're not that mindful of the foods that you're eating, and I'm pretty conscious about what I'm eating, um, if you have things coming into your body through those channels as well. So when we're working with our body and we're trying to bring restore health and vitality, it's understanding that there's different levels, there's layers, it takes time, it takes patience. And this is also why I believe very strongly in doing like one for myself. Even though I'm healthy, I like to do at least one very intensive protocol a year. Sometimes I do two, depending on how I'm feeling and what's going on. So diet plays a role. And it's also really, really important to understand that the physical, mental, emotional, and the spiritual bodies, they're all connected. And so as you start to dive into the work of moving through trauma, you're going to notice things shifting for you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, right? We're not just one thing. We're not just physical beings. We're not just emotional beings. We're not just like a construct of our mind. All of these things, they interplay together. And so it's important to understand that and have patience for yourself. So far I've covered, if you're just tuning into the live, in terms of how to move through trauma, breath work, yoga, time in nature, talk therapy if that resonates with you, and physical practices like somatic practices as well. Those are really, really beneficial as well. And some of the ways that I like to help support and regulate my nervous system is making sure that I'm getting enough sleep, right? Sleep is really, really important, because when you don't get enough rest, when you don't get enough sleep, your body perceives that to be a state of stress. And so it'll put your body into a sympathetic response state. And it's going to make it harder for your body can't heal when you're in a sympathetic state. So it's really, really important that you're prioritizing your sleep. You're making it really important. The superfoods company that I work with, they have an amazing sleep formula that I'm going to answer. Somebody asked a question that I'll answer in a second. They have a really great sleep formula called Sleep Nightly. There's ashwagandha, there's reishi mushroom, there's tart cherry, and there's chamomile in that formula. And the way that it's formulated is that when you take that an hour before bedtime, it helps to settle and calm your nervous system so that you get into a deeper, more restful state of sleep. So sleep is really, really important as well. And so is diet, right? So if you're eating foods that have a lot of processed sugar in them, or are fast foods or loaded with a lot of chemicals, that will actually put more stress on your body. It'll be hard for your body to break down those foods. And if you're eating foods that have a lot of processed sugar in them, that will actually put your body in a stress response state, because you're going to have your blood sugar levels spiking and dropping and spiking and dropping, and that's not good for you. So it's really, really important to make sure you're balancing your blood sugar, eating lots of whole plant foods, especially fruits, and making sure that your blood sugar levels stay stable. Remember, healing takes time, it takes effort, and it is work. I mean, I've had clients say to me when they first start working with me and I give them their initial protocols, is like they kind of feel like it's almost like a job that they have. And it's like, yeah, in the beginning, when you first start on your journey to healing, you do have to prioritize it, and it is work. It's not like you don't just get to flip a switch and restore your health and vitality. Especially if you're dealing with multiple autoimmune conditions, which a lot of people that I work with, they are dealing with multiple autoimmune conditions. And so we have to be very focused, we have to be systematic. And when you're doing a protocol, it's important to really follow it so that you're giving your body the best opportunity at healing itself. So somebody just asked, do chiropractic treatments assist with ending fight or flight? Again, it really depends on what's happening within your nervous system. Now, let's say something is out of alignment and within your spine, and it's creating a response like a sympathetic stress response within your body, then adjusting could help. But again, oftentimes I find, especially when it comes to somebody being in a chronic state of stress, of fight or flight, there are multiple factors that have to be looked at. It's not just one thing. So oftentimes it could be the home environment that someone's in. Like, let's say they live in an environment where there's a lot of construction, a lot of noise. Like, I notice for myself, where I live now is a quiet neighborhood. But if I go into the city where there's a lot of construction, a lot of people, a lot of like activity, like I feel a shift within my body right away. It puts me into a stress response state. So you have to look at all the inputs that are happening within you and around you, and how those could be impacting your body. If you're in a if you're in a high rise building and there's like 30 different Wi-Fi signals hitting your body, that's going to create a response within your body. And a lot of people don't understand that when we're around a lot of technology, when we're around a lot of Wi-Fi signals, what EMFs do to your body is they actually disrupt the communication between all your cells. And that's going to affect your nervous system. That's going to affect how your cells communicate. And it's going to affect how your body is responding to the inputs around it. So it is so important to take a truly holistic approach when it comes to your health, looking at all the physical inputs, the emotional inputs, the inputs that may have happened, trauma that may have happened in your life when you were like 5 years old, 10 years old. And if you never dealt with it, it's probably playing at a low level state in your body, somewhere in your subconscious, and that's affecting your health now. So those are some of the things. Those are some of the things that you want to look at. So making sure that you're prioritizing sleep, along with all the other things that I've mentioned. And one of the things that I have really found to be beneficial in terms of regulating my nervous system has been the molecular hydrogen tablets that I use that are called LVIQ. There is a large dose of a bigger dose of hydrogen, molecular hydrogen within those tablets. And it also uses elemental magnesium. And I have found, because I've been using those tablets now for about a year and a half, I had to really kind of think about it, a year and a half. And I have found that it's made a tremendous difference in terms of my nervous system and how I feel in my body. The one of the things, especially for women, especially if you're a woman who's an entrepreneur, it's like there's always stuff to do, and there's there's never enough hours in the day, it seems. And so we can get in this habit, or at least I got in this habit of where I'm just like go 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 all the time. And one of the things that I've noticed since I started using the LVIQ tablets is, even though life is really busy and it's full, I feel a lot calmer within my body. And I notice, especially after I take my sleep nightly in the evening and I go to bed and start to kind of like wind down for my day and like lie down in my bed and just close my eyes, like I just feel a profound level of settling within my body. Like, just my nervous system feels so calm. I feel like I've just like finally come home to myself. And one of the things I've concluded is that I've just gotten used to being in a level of stress all the time. Obviously, it started from my history, like all of the traumatic events I went through over the course of my life. But what happens is when you're somebody who's gone through a lot of trauma, a lot of stressful events, what happens is that's all we know. And so the tendency is to keep recreating those situations in our present day. And it takes effort, it takes awareness, it takes like focus to say, you know what? I don't want to stay in that chronic stress response state. I'm going to say no to some things. I'm going to create space in my calendar. I'm going to be more intentional about how I spend my days. And I'm going to prioritize taking care of myself, right? One of the other things that I think is incredibly beneficial for moving through trauma and for just shifting your perspective is meditation. Now, there's many different types of meditation. I personally do Vipassana meditation, but there's breath meditation. There's meditation where you're repeating a mantra or an affirmation. And as with some of the other things that I've recommended, you do want to find somebody that you resonate with in terms of learning a particular style of meditation. And it might take some trial and error, but be really, really patient with it because it's going to be a wonderful way a wonderful tool that you're going to have in your toolkit in terms of helping to reduce the amount of stress that your body is under. And it's also going to help you to reframe life's challenges. When things happen, as inevitably they do, your ability to navigate the highs and lows of life is going to be a lot easier than somebody who doesn't have some type of a meditation practice. And so I personally have done Vipassana now since 2007. I've tried a couple of other techniques along the way, but I found for myself I prefer Vipassana, and that's just what resonates with me. But for you, it could be something else. There is a video on my YouTube channel that goes over like some pretty basic breath meditation. If you want to find that video and start doing like start with 15 minutes of meditation a day, work your way up to like 30 minutes. And ideally, you want to be doing it morning and evening, because what that's going to do is in the morning, it really keeps your body in a parasympathetic state so that you're able to move into your day with a lot more calm and resiliency and peace. And at the end of the day, it's like brushing your teeth. It'll help to kind of reset, refocus from the day and prepare your body properly for sleep so that you have more deep, restful sleep. So if you are somebody who's dealing with autoimmune conditions, it's important to not just look at the diet side, but also look at how the story of your life, like, have you gone through really, really stressful, traumatic events? Have you dealt with those traumas? Have you moved through those traumas? And if not, take the time and the opportunity to do that, because it is really going to help you tremendously on your health and wellness journey, and especially in terms of reversing autoimmune conditions. I myself have reversed hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's 100% holistically. I've been off all medications now for over 6.5 years. I used to have all kinds of gut issues. I used to deal with depression. I would go through these waves of depression multiple times a year. And I had like incredibly terrible adrenal fatigue after my husband passed away. And I dealt with that for many, many years. All that is gone now. I've got my health, my vitality, everything is back. And I feel absolutely amazing. And if anything, it just keeps getting better and better and better. And I definitely want that for you as well, especially if you're struggling with your health. Remember that your body is capable of healing itself. It just needs the proper support in terms of diet and lifestyle. So I hope you found some value in this video today. Share this with a friend if you know anybody who might also be dealing with autoimmune conditions, especially thyroid issues, Hashimoto's, or Graves. And I saved this for the last. If you haven't seen my book yet, my book is out. It's available on Amazon. And there's also a companion journal. I created the companion journal because I want people to implement what I talk about in the book. There's wonderful questions for morning and evening reflection. So you can really be intentional about what you want to create in your days, really be intentional about your mindset, and and put into action, because there's actually also a space in the journal where you can look at, like, how much did you move each day? Did you get enough servings of fruits and vegetables? Did you hydrate? So all of that is in the journal as well. And pick up the book from Amazon. Leave a review once you've read the book, because it helps other people to know how amazing the tools and the resources are in this book. If you're not already following this channel, please follow. And of course, if you have questions, I love answering questions. Please comment below this video and I will definitely answer any questions. If you're looking to work with me, I have an amazing membership called Elevate. That membership is designed to help anybody who's dealing with chronic health conditions, especially autoimmune conditions and thyroid issues. It's designed to help you restore your health and vitality one step at a time. And I cover not only diet and lifestyle, but also a lot of the mindset pieces and detoxification, addressing parasites. We move through multiple parasite protocols over the course of the year-long program. And so thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of my online community. And I will see you in the next live. Bye for now.